I am going to keep discussing how the Northern District Court of California risks it all to protect the people from tyrants, particularly when the people try to compile the necessary evidence for a lawsuit when we have been violated, and what an honor it was to have Magistrate Cousins ruling on the siege of Carmel Beach from 2020. What I'm showing here is a transcript of the conference we held in April of 2024 with the Honorable Judge Cousins, Thomas Fay, the rogue replacement for Redford after he was withdrawn from the case because a pro se litigant caught Redford practicing law outside jurisdiction, and Sam Biederwell, the unidentified attorney for the Monterey County Jail, which is made up of a bunch of thugs that were chomping at the bit to throw us in a dungeon and enter our fingerprints into a permanent criminal history record for walking near the Pacific Ocean. In this part of the conference, we are discussing why much of my video evidence I had been requesting since January of 2021 from the jail was destroyed anyway, including all the videos from my first arrest for standing on a beach and the second arrest from the nurse's office when two sadistic deputies held me down and laughed as they attached things to my body and stole some of my biometric data, and all the footage from my jail cells for both arrests. And this is the attorney from Monterey speaking who tries to blow it off. The sheriff's department didn't have a retention policy at all until actually this past week. Oh, so at the beginning of 2024, the Monterey County Jail still didn't have a policy for how to hold on to our video evidence, huh? Well, as you can see for how I reply, I'm already having a problem with this, alerting all to the fact that this is against the law, which we are going to cover. Quite frankly, the Honorable Judge Cousins should have started demanding answers from Biederwell right there and then. He didn't. Cousins later orders the defendants to explain why my evidence was destroyed, and we're only going to look at one document which I alluded to in the last video. This is a law in California, Government Code 34090.6, which governs routine video recordings. Section C describes that these are for jail, observation, and monitoring systems. Section A is clear that the head of a department of a city or city and county, after 1 year, may destroy routine video monitoring, but the destruction shall be approved by the legislative body and the written consent of the agency attorney shall be obtained. In other words, the people have to approve it and an attorney has to sign off on it before the routine video recordings can be destroyed. And those for pending litigation, which is where my video recordings fell, must be held until litigation is resolved. So let's look at the declaration from Marcela Isela Lopez, the systems administrator of the Monterey County Sheriff's Department, dated May 3rd, 2024, trying to explain why all my videos were destroyed. Because the botch system overwrites data once it surpasses the 360-day retention limit. In other words, the Monterey County Sheriff's Department, as a matter of established policy, has delegated the destruction of video recordings to AI, an inanimate object, after 360 days, in clear violation of California law by altogether dispensing with the requirement of both the approval of the people and the written consent of the agency's attorney. Now let's have a look at paragraph 5 of her declaration, where she states, all videos from both of my arrests would have been overwritten or destroyed by the time I filed my lawsuit on June 30th, 2022. Except they weren't, because I received 5 videos from my second arrest, which Sam Biederwell sent to me in November of 2023. 17 months after Lopez claimed under penalty of perjury they were all destroyed, and yet Biederwell is one and the same that uploaded her declaration into my case. In fact, on the same day Biederwell entered her declaration, he entered his own under penalty of perjury, swearing he had received 5 of the videos Lopez claimed were nowhere to be found. I have repeatedly tried to make this video with some of the ones Peterwell sent, but I can't download it for some reason, so either they tampered with it before sending or my app is corrupting them, but that is a screenshot of when these stupid, ugly bitches pinned me up against the wall and started digging into my hair. If I can figure out how to upload this one in particular later, I will. So both of these facts, and they were facts, were brought to Judge Cousin's attention in a judicial notice at ECF 198. That it was a false statement by Lopez under penalty of perjury, and the Monterey County Jail was operating outside the law regarding the critical preservation of my evidence. Cousins makes it clear he's going to ignore them because I just didn't tell him the right way. And the rule he uses to disregard my reporting is a categorically false authority, which I'm not going to cover here so I don't lose people. But no matter how many times I raised these issues regarding Lopez's declaration in my documents, he never acknowledged them, not once. A year ago, I started ringing the bell in the Northern District Court in yet another judicial notice submitted in February of 2024 at ECF 137 as to how Monterey County had been tampering with my evidence when I included 20 pages of exhibits showing the court how I had been demanding the disclosure of the same records for years even prior to litigation. And in that same notice, I requested a hearing on these matters so I could present further proof to the court. And what a shocker, what the Honorable Magistrate Cousins wound up doing with this notice. He did nothing. Not only did I never get a hearing, but the notice in its entirety was never acknowledged. And wouldn't you know, both cases I cited in that notice made it clear there is a duty to preserve records from the moment that litigation is reasonably anticipated. And both of those rulings were issued from the Northern District Court, the same court where Cousins pretended he didn't get this. I mean, gentlemen, this is embarrassing for you. And the Monterey County Sheriff's Jail is notoriously one of the most dangerous in the state, and frequently we have headlines like this, where in the weekly they reported the death rate is twice the national average. And yet no action was ever taken by the court to address how their policy for preserving our evidence violates California law. And as I've already stated, and I'm going to keep stating this in videos, the Honorable Chief Judge Richard Seaborg of the Northern District Court received a copy of my reporting of Lopez's declaration and how, as a matter of policy, the Monterey County Sheriff's Department destroys our video evidence outside the law, and Seaborg did nothing. And the Honorable Judge Casey Pitts conducted a careful review of the proceedings to preserve our confidence in the fairness of the judiciary and determined that Judge Cousins was a paragon of integrity and justice, meaning all three of these so-called protectors of our rights and freedoms remained deaf, dumb, and blind to the systematic tampering of our videos from a place where many innocent people are brought in chains to be poked, prodded, molested, cataloged, and violated. So there were no sanctions issued against Monterey, no investigations ordered into why video evidence isn't being preserved according to California law in a jail where people are dying at an alarming rate. And I wasn't given a default judgment after Monterey failed to preserve electronically stored information which they were required to preserve according to this federal rule of civil procedure. No. What happened in October of 2024 was Cousins threw my case out because I failed to disclose such records as my diary and journal entries. Okay, let me remind everyone, this is not some podunk courthouse out in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma. This is a federal district court in Silicon Valley, one of the wealthiest and most powerful places on earth. What is happening? because if they really were who they have taken no doubt great care to convince us they are, it would have gone down like this.
Hey now, the question goes out to both of you, Judge Casey Pitts and Chief Judge Richard Seaborg. What do you think about how Magistrate Cousins reffed the suit of Buccola versus Boucher?
I think it's disgusting. And I never want to see him reffing ever again. That guy has no business reffing fights, and I promise you, you're not going to see him again.
But I can dream, can I? I mean, all joking aside though, if you want to get justice as one of the people, as a pro se litigant, I cannot recommend the Northern District Court of California highly enough, because they're not biased when you're holding them to their own rules and codes, and they don't assume your legitimate grievances will get swept under the rug because you're just one of the little people, the riffraff, and not part of the big club of bar members like they are. These esteemed judges will do whatever's necessary to hold those accountable that have destroyed the evidence you have been demanding for years from those that harmed you. We, the people, would like to thank the judges of the Northern District Court of California for how you've risked everything for us and deemed it your sacred duty to protect our property, hold the Monterey County Sheriff's Department accountable for operating outside the law, and for giving the people the justice they deserve no matter what adversity you face. You are our heroes.